It's time to do a physics problem. Here's one that we have. A block of snow is on a roof, and it slides off the roof and falls onto the ground. So here's what we know. 1, frictionless. 2, we know the angle of the roof is 30 degrees. The block of snow starts 3 meters up the roof, and then it's 4 meters to the ground. So the question is, how far from the house does it fall? I mean, there's a lot of stuff in this problem, right? So I want to help you practice problem-solving strategies. So let's practice the problem-solving strategy. I've given you some stuff right there, but what I want you to do is to, and I've actually already said what you need. So I've done a lot of it. But number 1, think about what kind of problem this is. Is this a static equilibrium problem? Is this a kinematics problem? Is this a work energy problem? What main principle are you going to use and write down that principle? Number 2, what would be the main equations that you're going to use in that situation? Now, this is a 2-part problem. I'll give you that hint. 2-part problem. So go ahead, I'm going to use my little pause button here. I want you to pause the video, write down those things so you can work on that process of building a solution instead of just seeing me do it. So go ahead and pause. That's my pause button. I hope you did indeed pause the video. This problem is great because you can solve it more than one way. You know, we really have, like I said, 2 problems. Problem 1 is the block of snow going from here down to there. And then at that point, once it reaches here, it's then launched down at an angle, and it's projectile motion problem. So the second part of the problem is definitely projectile motion problem. Now, the first part of the problem, you have more than one way to solve. I'm going to break this into 2 parts. We're going to call that part 1. We're going to go from 1 to 2, and then 2 to 3. So this is the first part. And that first part, I'm going to use the work energy principle. Why am I going to use the work energy principle? So, work energy. You don't have to. You could use just plain kinematic equations, but I like this way better. I'm going to use the work energy principle because we deal with a change in position, and we only care about speed. We don't care about the vector value of velocity. We already know the direction it's moving. So that's why I'm going to use the work energy principle. So for the work energy principle, the first thing I need to do is say, what is my system? So I'm going to pick the system of the snow plus the earth. And once I do that, because I have the snow in there, I'm going to have kinetic energy, which is 1/2 mv squared. I don't know the mass of the snow, but I'm just going to leave it in there. And I have gravitational potential energy, mgy. Now, as soon as you write gravitational potential energy, you should think to yourself, well, where is y equals 0? I'm measuring y. I need to know where y is equal to 0, and you get to pick. So let's pick right down here at the top of the roof. For the first part, we're going to pick that as y equals 0 meters. Next, I need to think about the work done on my system. Work is F delta R cosine theta. So any forces that are exerted on the system, I need to consider. And there is a force exerted on the system. As this block slides down, there's a normal force pushing on it. Right? That prevents the block from going through the roof. That normal force is perpendicular to delta R. So it's moving this way, and the force is that way. So the angle between those two is 90 degrees. The cosine of 90 is 0, so the work done by the roof is 0, which is, you know, that makes sense, right? Roof's not going to add energy to the system. Now I can go ahead and write down my work energy principle. This says the work is the change in energy. That's going to be the change in kinetic plus the change in gravitational potential energy. We already said the work is 0, so I have K2, the final kinetic energy, minus initial kinetic energy, plus the final potential minus initial potential. Now, 2 of those terms are 0. The 2 terms that are 0 are K1, right? Because it starts from rest up here, so its velocity is 0, so its kinetic energy is 0. And also the final potential energy is 0 because y is equal to 0 here. We picked that. So now I have 1/2 mv2 squared minus 0 plus 0 minus mg. I'm going to call that y1. y1 is the y value up here. We need to find the y value up there. Let's just draw a quick triangle. This is the angle theta. that's the distance s. So that h value is the opposite side of that right triangle. So h, or y1, that's not h. I use that for h, y1. y1 is going to be s sine of theta. So let's put everything in. 0 equals 1/2 m v2 squared minus m g s sine theta. Now, what do I want to solve for? I want to find v2 so that I can do the second part of the problem. So v2 right here, I want to solve for that. I'm going to add that to both sides, and I get 1/2 m v2 squared is m g s sine theta. I can divide both sides by m, and I can multiply both sides by 2 and take the square root. v2 is the square root of 2g s sine theta. Now, I think it's important to know that that's just a number, right? I know 2, I know g is 9.8, I know s is 3, I know theta is 30. So it's just a number. I'm not going to put that number in right now because I don't want to, but it is just a number. I am going to write that over here, though. v2 is the square root of 2g s sine theta, and I'm going to put a box around it because I can get a number for that. Okay, now we're moving to the second part of the problem. Once it leaves the roof and travels to the ground. I already said that's a projectile motion problem. So see if you can write down the equations for projectile motion for the second part of the problem. You can just use the initial velocity as v2. Okay, so go ahead and pause. I'm going to erase the board part of it. And you can pause and do that. I hope you actually did pause. It wasn't just a joke. You're not going to learn physics by watching me do physics any more that you would learn to play basketball by watching people play basketball. Or learn, okay, I'm going to stop that. So the projectile motion problem, let's start off with our conditions. So I know my initial x, let's call this still the origin, just because I don't want to move it. So my initial x is 0. My final x is what I'm trying to find. My initial x velocity is v2 cosine theta, right? Because if I look at this, that's my initial velocity. And this is the angle theta. That's also the angle theta. So my x velocity is this direction. And that's the adjacent side of that triangle. And then the y velocity is right here, the initial y velocity. So the initial x velocity is v2, which I know, times cosine theta. Now, the x equation I have is x naught plus v, I'll put it as vx0 t. That's the only equation I need in the x direction, because the acceleration for projectile motion in the x direction is 0. Okay. Now, in the y direction, I can put a box around that. In the y direction, my initial y position is 0. Because I chose that as my origin, that's my initial y position. Now, my final y position is negative h, right? Because going from here down to there is a distance h, but it's in the negative direction. So I'm starting at 0 and ending at h, which is the same as starting at h and ending at 0, right? My initial y velocity is going to be negative v2 sine theta. So notice over here that we're in the negative y direction. So although I have that right triangle, when you find components of vectors, you need to look at the direction that it's actually going. In this case, it's going down, so the y component has to be negative. It has to be. So I put the negative there. Okay. Now I need the kinematic equation for that. I have y0 plus vy0t minus 1/2 gt squared. And I should put a box around that. I'm going to put in, yeah. Now up here, actually that's 0. We already said that. And down here, one of these is 0, and that's this. Now, it turns out almost always the case that we're going to find to solve for this problem. We have a time here and a time there. They're the same times. I can solve this for time and then plug it in up there and solve for x. I already know the initial x velocity. And then once I find the time, I'll be done. So let's rewrite this equation. My final y is negative h. So I can move that to the other side. I get 0 equals h plus, I'm going to leave this as v y0. It's just a number, t minus 1/2 g t squared. That is a negative number, right? But in order to solve this for time, we're going to have to use our quadratic equation, our quadratic formula. So I'm going to say a is negative 1/2 g, b is vy0, and c is h. And then we have t is negative b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So let's go ahead and put in our expressions for that. So negative b is negative vy0 plus or minus the square root of vy0 squared. Now I have minus 4a. This is my a, and it has another minus and a 2. So I'm going to say plus 2, and that got rid of that, g, and then c is equal to h. And then I'm going to divide by 2a, so negative g. Now, I get two numbers here, and if you're not sure which one is which, then you just pick, right? I'm pretty sure we're going to go with the minus sign. Remember that they're going to give me, since I'm picking this is y, no, that is, I think I'm going to go with the minus sign. One of them is going to be where it was crossing before it got launched, which assumes it came from a complete parabola. Let's just go ahead and start putting in our numbers. The first thing I'm going to do is to calculate this, my initial velocity. So I do need that as a number. 2 times 9.8 times 3 times sine of 30. And I should use Python for this. I'm going to use Python. I don't want to type it in the calculator. OK, so let's switch over here to Python. Oops, that's not that. So I'm going to go to Trinket. That's one I like better. It doesn't really matter. I'm not even going to save it. So in Python, I'm just going to start entering a bunch of variables. That's the nice thing about this. So g equals 9.8, not negative 9.8, right? And then I have s is 3, h is 4, theta is 30 degrees, 30 times pi over 180. So the default angle for Python calculations in this, you can change it, is radians. So I converted theta to radians. I think I can now 2g s sine theta. Yeah. So let's go ahead and calculate v2. So v2 is the square root of 2 times g times s times sine of theta. Isn't that so much easier than entering in a calculator? And then I'm going to print that just so you can see what it is. Print v2 equals v2 meters per second. Not a number. G s three times. How is that not a number? Square root of 2 times g times s times sine of theta. 2gs sine theta. 2gs. Oh, sine of 30. That's why. Wow. I was going to have to figure something out there for a second. Okay. 5.42 meters per second. I don't really care. Now down here, I'm going to go ahead and enter my a, b, and c term because I think better in the quadratic equation in terms of a, b, and c. Oh, that's going to be, so v2 is actually negative of that. No, that's right. Let's go ahead and say v x0 is going to be v2 times cosine theta. Vy0 is going to be negative v2 times sine of theta. Now I can calculate my a, b, and c. So a is going to be negative 0.5 times g, right? B is going to be equal to Vy0, right? And then C is equal to H. So now I'm going to calculate 2 times. So T1 is going to be negative B plus the square root of B squared minus 4 times A times C. So you notice I don't have to simplify that at all because I'm just using the quadratic equation, divided by 2A. And let's print T1. And I'm going to put the units because I'm a careful person. Let's just run that and see if it works. And it didn't. What did I, T1 equals invalid symbol. T1 equals negative B plus the square root of B squared minus 4 times A times C. Oh, divided by, that's a simple thing to fix. So that is a negative time. Okay, now we get the initial time. So what I'm going to do is actually just copy this. I'm going to copy this whole thing like that. And I'm going to paste it and change it to T2, which I don't have to. I'm going to change this to a minus, and I'm going to change this to T2 and T2, and then run it. 0.66. Now I can go back to my original kinematic equation for the x motion, and I can say x equals Vx0 times t with plus x0, which is 0. I'm going to print that. X equals x meters, comma. Ooh, I almost made a third error in my Python. That would have been bad. And I did make an error. T2. 3.13 meters. That's actually pretty far, but I don't think it's too bad. It seems like it's okay. 3.13 meters from the house. And there you go. Physics. The end. Talk to you later. Bye.